and welcome. Now, there is an ongoing tussle over the conferment of national honors in the National Assembly. Now, the House of Representatives has requested President Bola Tinubu to confer the same national honor on its Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin, as was conferred on Senate President Godswill Akpabio. This comes after President Tinubu, in his Independence Day broadcast, announced that the Senate President and Chief Justice of Nigeria were conferred the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON, while Tajuddin Abbas and Barau Jibrin, both Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the House and Deputy Senate President, I should say, were conferred with the Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, that's CFR. Now, speaking on the motion, a member representing Rivers State in the House of Representatives, Cyril Hart, referred to the National Honors Act of 1994, saying that it clearly states that only 2 GCON awards can be given in a single year. He therefore asked that, Hart now said that given the legal impasse, the CJN should be stripped of the honor and it should be given to the Speaker. That's the honor of the GCON. The House also rejected the description of being the lower chamber compared to the Senate, saying Akpabio and Tajuddin are of equal status. The lawmakers urged the President to uphold the spirit of bicameral equality as enshrined in the Constitution when making decisions and recommendations that concern the leadership of the National Assembly. They further directed the clerk of the National Assembly to ensure that all communications, orders, and publications from the National Assembly henceforth refer to both the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the President of the Senate as co-heads of the National Assembly. Well, this is quite dramatic, but joining me now to discuss this further is political affairs analyst Jide Ojo. He joins us from Abuja. Also joining us from Abuja is a legal expert, Yusuf Buhari. They are both, of course, as I said, joining us from Abuja. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Let me start with you, Mr. Buhari. You are the legal expert here. Help us to understand the argument of the House of Representatives. I mean, saying that they enjoy equal status as the Senate. Is that the provision of the Constitution?
First of all, we need to get the legal context here. You see, it's part of what we have in the Constitution and our other corpus juris. However, it is quite discretionary. But the typical Nigerian crass, a mentality of entitlement tend to always cover our understanding of the situations. Now, the arguments can be seen from 2 perspectives. One, whether the recipient represented the component of this democratic setting, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. And if that is the argument, in our arrangement in Nigeria, the Senate president is quite afar than the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Yes, in American practice of democracy, the Speaker of the House of Reps take precedent. But in Nigerian context, the Senate leader represent in a leadership hierarchy represent he is the leader. Now let me say something. This award supposed to be earned. That is the position of the law. That is the position of morality. And that is the precedent set over the years. And if that is the case, possibly other than the CGN, who with verifiable evidence really qualified to have been given this. So the argument in some instances is that the president decided to give a little donation, with the exception, I repeat, with the CGN, with the exception of the CGN. But typical of Nigerian, like I said, entitlement mentality of thinking that if you can do it, to do it, I too should also be given the same thing. But the arrangement is not like this. Like I said in the beginning, the president has the power to choose among those that he feels are entitled to. not only entitled to, but that they have earned it by their precedent, by their performance, evidentially proven performance, and other issues that are incidental to the confirmation of that, to the conferment of the title. But the argument doesn't make any sense, legal, political, or procedural. Hardly one. Because legally speaking, like I said, it is at the end of it all presidential power to taking into cognizance certain factors. But like I said, to me, the present crop of people that have been given, with the exception of the CGN, to me, is merely a donation.
Okay, I get your point, but you know, beyond whether they merit it or not, Mr. Ojo, you have the House of Representatives saying that, look, the CJN should be stripped of her honor, and that honor should be given to the Speaker of the House. This is apart from the argument that they should enjoy equal status as the Senate, and that the Speaker is equal to the President of the Senate. Give me your take on this.
Thank you, DEJI. Happy Independence Day and celebration, if it's still in order. I think it's just infantile exuberance on the part of the House of Reps to be demanding for equality where obviously, even legally speaking, there is none. This whole argument about which chamber is higher in status is dated and June. We recall that the President of the Senate is the chairman of the National Assembly. And when you look at the number of the population size that a senator represents vis-a-vis that of House of Reps, you know that Senate is actually a upper house. This whole idea of co-chair or whatever is not conventional, it's not legal. So I think the House of Reps should just focus on more serious issues and not create unnecessary bad blood between themselves and their brother in the Senate. Having said that, I think the discretion that the president used in conferment of this GCON was to recognize each of the three arms of government. He is the head of the executive arm. So on inauguration, he already has GCFR, Grand Commander of the Federal Republic. Then the next honor to that is GCON, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. And if you look at the President of the Senate is the head and the chairman of the National Assembly. So the president did well by recognizing him as such and conferring that on him. Then the judiciary represents another arm of government, and the president also was right to have given the Chief Justice of Nigeria that honor. In any event, I think if you go by public opinion, that issue of confirmation should not have even been in the president's speech. Because I think it was just so needless. For many years, Buhari administration did not even confer any award or honorary award on anybody for much of his 8 years in government, with the exception of maybe last year or the 2022 or 2021, 2022. Now, as my learned brother said, this honor should ordinarily be earned and not just be awarded, even though I understand by the concept of it is an award, award of, so, but this award should be earned and not bestowed necessarily. Because even if you go by public opinion, those two, including the president, should not even have been awarded those titles because in the eye of many Nigerians, they didn't hand those honors they were awarded. The president at inauguration became GCFR by virtue of the fact that he has won an election, not necessarily because he has performed in office. If it's about performance, his conferment should have been at the latter part of his administration when we will have seen what he has done in his tenure. On what basis do you want to confer the president with a greatest, highest honor of the country when there is high level of poverty, unemployment, infrastructural decay, hardship, hunger? So is it on that basis that you are awarding him the greatest honor in the country, or the National Assembly that people felt is overpaid and underperformed, or even the judiciary that people felt has sold its conscience to politicians? But that is another level of argument. What is uppermost is that I think there should be a word of caution to the House of Reps not to engage in unnecessary infantile radicalism and creation of unnecessary bad blood between themselves. And then, because even they go through there are so many important functions that Senate performs that House of Reps don't. There are nominees of the president that are screened by the Senate and not with concurrence by the House of Reps. For instance, the ambassadorial nominees, the screening of the Chief Justice of the Federation, the
ministers.
So many other positions that you don't even need the concurrence. And even ministerial screening, I don't think the House of Reps have any role in ministerial screening. So that tells you that who is senior or who is higher in status, apart from the fact that senators represent wider population, larger population than the House of Reps. You then look at their functions. You find out that apart from the function of representation, oversight, and lawmaking, there are higher responsibility bestowed on the House of bestowed on Senate, which is what I'm alluding to with the screening. Some of the nominees that ministerial, ambassadorial, and critical appointments that have to be screened and endorsed. Even INEC chairman and resident electoral commissioners, national commissioners, all of them have to go through Senate screening, not the National Assembly screening. It leaves out the House of Reps. So if they want to give themselves, if the House of Reps wants to give themselves over-bloated importance, Nigerians are going to remind them what the law says about their roles and responsibilities.
Okay, I'm going to come back to
and what we wait to see is that how the rest of those who will be given this award, how would they be chosen? And would they also merit it, or will it just be award to political exposed persons and very important personalities without due reference to those who have actually won to uplift Nigeria as a country?
Let me come back to you, Mr. Yusuf. Now, we saw the way the House of Representatives, the Speaker resolved that. The Speaker, of course, the resolution by the House is that they've set up an ad hoc committee to liaise with the presidency to amend the National Honors Act to recognize the Speaker as one of those who should be recipients of the GCON honor. So obviously they want to ask the president to propose an amendment so that the act can, and not just that the Speaker should be a recipient of the GCON, but that the House of Representatives should be considered, the Speaker too should be considered as, according to them, a co-head of the National Assembly.
You see, when you assemble virtually spoiled brats, their performance must appear not to be consistent with the issues on ground, relevant issues. My brother, are we talking about constitutional amendment to address our core issues, to address the matters that are on ground, or constitutional amendment for Sec 7, for the fulfillment of ego? You see, that informs the reason why people are already well up there thinking that we should tinker with these two chambers so that we will have a chamber that will understand our crisis, our problems, our prospects, and possibly our aspirations. Do you see that? In fact, they lack shame, they lack appreciation of our problems. In fact, this high level, this cracked display of insensitivity is virtually the reason why restiveness in this country is escalating day by day. Can you bring this to a typical Nigerian who is struggling to feed himself? That what you have before your legislators today is a promotion or position by way of conferment by the president on the Speaker of House of Reps. Glorified ordinary men. I don't want to be harsh, but I'm compelled by the existing realities. And these people ignore them, insensitive to them. My colleague highlighted the reasons why the Senate president is far above the Speaker of House of Reps. And let us even go personal. The Senate president was a governor 2 times. I want to believe he was a senator 2 times. And look at his evidence of performance in where he was a governor compared to what is happening today, compared to the man that is aspiring to be at par with him. Can you even establish material reason to say that this is the way it should go? We should be very serious. And like my colleague just said, there is no need of overheating an already restive society. We might not be able to predict the end of this show because people are becoming seriously annoyed with the situation. They should apologize to Nigerians. Forget about this. And the matter should be addressed by protocol-wise. There is no issue of law. Anything discretionary doesn't have this compelling authority on the man that is, that is responsible to exercise that power. That is responsible of exercising that power. So the president will not be, by instrumentality of the law, to now say that, okay, every member of the House, the possibility of having a Speaker of House of Representatives from this group of Nigerians that are our problems is always possible. So what do? Do we just, don't forget we had a Speaker House of Reps who was qualified, who was disqualified and was sacked, was in fact imprisoned. Because of what? Because his papers, his qualification were doubtful, not only that, but dubiously oriented. So I think we should be very careful with the way things are going. We should understand the situation of this country and be very sensitive to it, particularly those people that are eating fat on our lean resource. They shouldn't push this thing too hard.
Let me come to you, Mr. Ojo, and I want to just read out part of the resolution of the House. That's apart from us setting up that committee and asking the committee to liaise with the presidency to amend the National Honors Act. It also urged the committee to walk the distance. I'm reading from what they said, to ensure that the national honor of GCON is conferred on the Speaker, thus ensuring parity in recognition with the President of the Senate, and that this should be accomplished before the formal declaration by Mr. President. The House also called on all government institutions, officials, and the media to take cognizance of language and titles that suggest a hierarchical structure between the Senate and the House of Representatives or their respective leaders, and that they directed the clerk of the National Assembly to ensure that all communications, orders, and publications of the National Assembly henceforth refer to both the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the President of the Senate as co-heads of the National Assembly. Of course, I said that earlier. I mean, you see this kind of resolution. How do you feel?
Well, I feel that they are not in tune with the reality on ground. There are so many other critical issues facing the country existential challenges facing the country, that they should be dissipating energy rather than this superiority tussle between them and the senators. As I've said in my earlier comment, this is a needless controversy. It creates undue bad blood. It does not have the backing of convention. In fact, if you look back in time, I've seen posting on social media where people said even Bankole, as Speaker of House of Reps, got CON. Even
GCON.
Galina, but none of them was conferred with GCON.
Okay.
All the previous speakers, to the best of my knowledge, none of them had ever been recognized at par with the president of the Senate. So why should it start? Why should that convention start with this 10th House of Reps? So there are more critical issues facing this country, existential challenges of daily living of average Nigerians, issue of security challenge, infrastructural decay, that I feel that should be the priority of the National Assembly than getting undue dissipation of energy on who is higher in hierarchy, who is bigger in protocol. As I've told you, even though the president did not offer any explanation, this is just to recognize the three arms of the leadership, the headship of the three arms of government. On the face of it, I believe that's what the president tried to do, to recognize each of the three arms of government and its leadership. But if they want to now go the issue of amending the law, they should understand that even if they succeeded in passing this law that they are asking for amendment of, they need the concurrence of the Senate for it to become a bill that will be passed to the president for assent. And I don't see how the Senate will pass this bill alongside with House of Reps, even if they decide to pass it, or how they will intend to compel the president to sign this, because the law is very explicit. No law of National Assembly will be duly passed if only one chamber is the one that passed it. Otherwise, we should have had the Electoral Offences Commission in place now, if that is the situation, because I think either the Senate or House of Reps in the 8th or 9th Senate had passed that law. But because there was no concurrence, that's why it started de novo under this administration. So they should just not embark on futile exercise. I don't see how the 109 senators will back this amendment, even if it were to be proposed. And they will never get the president to sponsor this as an executive bill. So even if it comes as a private member bill, I do not see the Senate concurring to this, let alone having it forwarded to the president for assent. So it is in the best interest of the House of Reps to face more existential problems that Nigeria is facing and see how they can help to ameliorate the sufferings of average Nigerians, rather than dissipating and wasting resources, time, energy, and money on this leadership tussle of the National Assembly. It is quite unfortunate.
And if you ask me, since they are arguing that, both of them are of equal status, then maybe they should amend the constitution to scrap one of the houses of parliament, probably the House of Reps, which, of course, one of the houses, whether the House of Reps or the Senate, which people have actually been asking for a very long time. I mean, since they're of equal status, it means they're basically doing the same thing. So why do we need the two houses? Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. I want to appreciate your time. Yusuf Buhari, thank you very much for coming on the program. And Jidojo, thank you very much also for coming. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we'll take a short break now. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Don't go away. Opinions are free. Facts are sacred. But truth is universal. How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
When you go into public office, you must be ready to answer to the people.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.